Alongside the chronic bronchitis is another pulmonary disorder that contributes to this COPD is named emphysema. So emphysema is a lung condition or a pulmonary disorder in which the alveoli are damaged through various factors, specifically through smoking and air pollution, permanently enlarging the spaces on the alveoli, losing its elasticity and resulting in difficulty in exhaling. Emphysema literally means inflate or swell. This is because to the loss in tissue fibers in the alveoli, which makes the spaces in the alveoli larger than what it should look like. So emphysema is a type or contributor to the COPD, and it mainly affects the air sacs or the alveoli that results to impaired gas exchange in the lungs. So what are the causes of emphysema? The number one causative factor is smoking. This is due to numbers of toxins and antigens that can be inhaled even from secondhand smoke of tobacco. And next is air irritants such as air pollution, dust, and chemical fumes. So the long-term exposure to these air irritants will gradually develop emphysema in your lungs. And the last one is a genetically inherited disease, which is a deficiency in alpha antitrypsin, which will be furtherly discussed in the pathophysiology. The pathophysiology of emphysema. Emphysema will begin when foreign antigens such as the toxins from tobacco smoke or irritants such as air pollution enters the lungs, and these will stimulate the respiratory immune system. The respiratory immune system will release immune cells, specifically macrophages and eosinophils. So these immune cells will transport the antigens to the BALT or the bronchial associated lymphatic tissue layer. After the antigens have been transported to the BALT or the bronchial associated lymphatic tissue layer, the immune cells, specifically the macrophages, will release proteases. So these proteases are enzymes that break down peptide bonds of proteins, and these proteases will gradually damage the epithelial tissues or epithelial walls in the alveoli. The immune response initiates and triggers the release of more proteases activities, and these proteases activities are counteracted by the antiproteases, which are mainly released by the alveoli. So what happens if the alveoli is damaged? There will be more number of protease activity than the antiproteases, which will result to further damaging of the epithelial walls and the elastic fibers. The destruction or damage in elastic fibers and epithelial walls will cause the loss of recoil in the lungs during the respiration or the inhalation and exhalation process. This will cause forceful exhalation due to loss of elasticity, and the airways will also narrow, limiting the airflow and will eventually cause air trapping. As I have mentioned earlier, there is another causative factor that contributes to the development of emphysema, which is not related to inhalation or acquisition of any air pollutants or irritants, which is a deficiency in an enzyme called anti-1 antitrypsin. So anti-1 antitrypsin is a protein that is a major antiprotease. So the deficiency in this enzyme will result to the imbalance of the protease and antiproteases activity. The proteases will overpower the antiproteases, which will result to further destruction or breakdown of peptide bonds of protein, and then will damage the walls of the alveoli and also the elastic fibers, and will result to emphysema. For the signs and symptoms, these are the following signs and symptoms: the frequent coughing or wheezing, productive cough, shortness of breath, especially with physical activity, whistling or squeaky sound when you breathe, tightness in chest, colds and flu, weight loss in severe cases, weakness in lower muscles, and swelling in lower extremities.